Communities United Against Police Brutality Reinvestigation presents Marcus Golden, Part 2. The Police Narrative. Marcus was killed by St. Paul police officers Jeremy Doverspike and Dan Peck on January 14, 2015. A male called 911 from inside a locked apartment building to report that a guy had been texting him death threats from a texting app for hours. That the guy had a gun and was driving in and out of the parking lot of his apartment. Dispatch asked about the gun. This was the caller's response. Quote, He always has a gun. It's a long story. It's my ex-girlfriend's ex-boyfriend or something. Somehow he's got, I don't know how the fuck he's got my information and what's going on, but this dude is straight up stalking me and he's been chasing her all over, pointing guns at her and shit. He's got a gun, so I know, and I just want the dude to get away from my property because I don't need problems at my house right now, unquote. Dispatch failed to ask the caller what the alleged death threats were, or why he didn't block the number. The 911 caller did not actually see Marcus with the gun. The caller only heard about the gun. At 2:14 a.m., 2 squads were dispatched to the harassment complaint call. 223T, Officers Rushtow and Tow, and 221T, Officers Bannock and Lee. Both squads were training cars, meaning they had one training officer and one trainee. While en route to the call, an officer wrote in the call comments on the computer-aided dispatch system that Marcus had threatened to kill officers in the past. That occurred around 2:18 a.m. According to an officer's statement, quote, Golden had been known to be a violent person and has made threats against St. Paul police officers that he would kill them, unquote. Officer Doverspike and Peck arrived on scene at the apartment building unannounced, with no lights or sirens activated. The officers were not assigned to the call by dispatch and did not tell dispatch they were going. The apartment parking lot is located on a very steep hill, with one drivable entrance and exit. Officers entered from University Avenue and drove up the dark parking lot to where Marcus was parked. Marcus was parked at the very top of the parking lot. Directly adjacent to the spot Marcus was parked in was a very steep hill. The officers drove directly to where Marcus was parked without activating their lights or sirens. Around 2:19 a.m., Officers Doverspike and Peck roll into the frame of the apartment lobby video. The officers broadcast their arrival on the scene and aired the GMC Jimmy's license plate over the radio. At 2:20 a.m., the GMC Jimmy drives down the driveway and crashes, according to the apartment lobby's surveillance video. 8 seconds after the officers air the license plate, Peck airs over the radio, "Shots fired." Marcus's vehicle crashed into a row of parked cars, and officers approached the vehicle. The vehicle was still on, and the tires were spinning. Responding officers Sweeney and Doverspike pulled Marcus out of his vehicle by his feet and rendered aid. Marcus was shot twice, once in the left arm, and the other in the left back of his head, near his ear. The bullet traveled at a downward angle, left to right, and exited his right eye. Marcus was shot from behind. Medics announced that Marcus was dead upon their arrival and resuscitation efforts failed. That morning, St. Paul Police Department held a press conference, releasing information about the shooting. They stated, quote, This morning at approximately 2:15 a.m., we were called to 261 East University, and the call was pretty normal and inaudible, where we got a call where it says our complainant is being threatened via cell phone messaging that she's going to be harmed. Also, there was information given to the officers at this point in time that a gun possibly could be held by the suspect in this matter. He's been known to carry a gun in the past, and that was relayed to the officers upon arrival. The next day, St. Paul Police Department press release said, quote, Upon arrival, officers located the suspect sitting in the driver's seat of an SUV that was parked facing the squad car. Officers exited their vehicle. Before they could fully approach the suspect, he accelerated the SUV and drove at a high rate of speed directly at one of the officers. Fearing for their lives, the officers fired their department-issued handguns several times, striking the suspect. Officers ensured that no one else was in the SUV, called for St. Paul fire medics, and rendered aid to the suspect. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The officers involved in this incident are Officer Jeremy Doverspike, a 7-year veteran, and Officer Dan Peck, who has been with the department for nearly 2 years. Neither was injured. Both have been placed on a 3-day administrative leave, which is department policy. Investigators later searched the suspect's vehicle and found a loaded handgun within immediate reach of the SUV's driver. See Part 3 for more.